Alright guys, in today's video we have more PlayStation news and information to go over and cover. Before we dive into these topics though, do me a favor, hit the like button to help the video out and show your support. And if you are new here to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. We're starting here though with some very good news about Death Stranding. We actually have some sales numbers that were officially revealed by Kojima Productions themselves. And it's interesting because this has created a conversation where even though Kojima Productions is saying that this game has sold quite well based off of the numbers that they're presenting to us, there are still individuals who want to believe that this game was not a success. Now, the truth is, when it comes to the way Sony views Death Stranding, we have no way of knowing what their internal expectations are and whether or not Death Stranding has either met or possibly exceeded those expectations, or if in the eyes of Sony, Death Stranding actually underperformed. But this is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it says Death Stranding has sold 5 million copies on PlayStation 4 and PC by the end of March 2021. Speaking to GamesIndustry.biz, Kojima Productions head of publishing Jay Bohr said from a sales perspective, it has performed quite well, especially as the title is the first to be developed by the studio and is a completely new and unique IP. Now that the game has sold more than 5 million copies, the studio is confident Death Stranding Director's Cut will do quite well. The PlayStation 5 exclusive version of the game comes with plenty of new features that will be carefully woven into the core game experience and will be made available through discovery as you play. So we already went over all of those new additions to Death Stranding Director's Cut, and it's interesting because Kojima Productions does seem confident that the Director's Cut version of this game will sell well. But focusing on that 5 million copies, obviously, it's not like this game just launched 6 months ago or even a year ago. The game launched at the very end of 2019. It was November 2019 when the game launched. And so you look at these numbers and you think, well, is 5 million copies sold between then and now actually a success? Well, I'm going to say, yeah, it definitely is. Not only because Kojima Productions is saying it is. I mean, they didn't have to reveal these numbers. I think the reason why they're revealing these numbers is because this is good for them. But they also point out that the game is not only a new IP, but it is very unique, right? And in my opinion, the fact that this game sold 5 million copies is actually pretty crazy when you consider how unique the gameplay loop really is. And it actually makes me really happy because I remember going into the launch of Death Stranding, there were a lot of people who were like, I'm not sold on this game and the gameplay. And there are certainly some people who just aren't going to enjoy this type of gameplay experience. And to think that it was able to sell 5 million copies to gamers, even with a core gameplay experience that is this different and just not normal, right? I think that's pretty good. I'd actually say that's really good. And so this makes me feel good because I have been saying for a long time that Death Stranding is a very good title. And at this point, I think it's safe to say it's a little bit underrated. It would have been great if they could have sold even more, but it seems that with the Director's Cut, there may be even more people now who are going to try it out for the first time and get the, an even better experience, I guess you could say, on the PS5. So yeah, across PlayStation 4 and PC, I'd say that those are some pretty good sales numbers. And I honestly do think it kind of puts to rest this notion that, the game didn't sell well. As again, we won't know from Sony's perspective what they think about these sales numbers. It's hard to say if they think that they're really good or not. I'm going to say that the fact Death Stranding is getting a director's cut is a good sign that Sony has a good relationship with Kojima Productions and they consider the game a success, right? So that's the way I'm looking at it, but you can let me know down in the comments below what you think about this. But we're moving on to the next topic, talking briefly about some interesting sales data regarding the PS5 as well as some PS5 exclusives once again, because we have Christopher Dring over on Twitter. He is the head of GamesIndustry.biz, sharing some really interesting data here. So he says a big increase in PS5 console stock in the UK has sent Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart to number 3 in the weekly charts, and that's actually a bump of 288%, and Spider-Man Miles Morales at number 6 with sales up 242%. And so the reason why I'm taking time to acknowledge this is because, well, not only is it great to see that these games are still managing to sell so well, they're proving to have a seriously long tail here, especially for Spider-Man Miles Morales, especially for Spider-Man. It just continues to show that with PS5 console sales, it moves units, it moves game units, right? Like, it sells these games, and seeing such massive jumps, like Ratchet and Clank to me is not that surprising because it's a PS5 exclusive, right? It's not available on the PS4. So when there is a big increase in PlayStation 5 stock and a bunch of people are buying PS5s, it makes sense that Rift Apart is going to, climb with that. But seeing Spider-Man still managing to make top 10 charts and seeing these massive jumps, there are a lot of people who are either buying this game on PS4, and then when they do get a PS5, buying it again, right? Which, I mean, that's a possibility, but it seems once again that a lot of people are just waiting until they get these consoles to buy these games. And so, yeah, it's just something that I like to see. I like to see how well these games are continuing to do because, as I say all the time, there's always so much contention about, oh, well, people have to buy games and nobody wants to buy games, and Sony's still selling their games and they shouldn't be doing that, or they should be doing something else. And it's like, I mean, I don't know how much more data I have to continue to show people to kind of prove to them that, like, look, yes, there are different ways of doing things, but the way that Sony's choosing to do it by just selling their games at full price, people are okay with that. These games are selling incredibly well. They're doing great numbers. So yeah, just thought I would take a moment to let you guys know about that. But we're moving on to the next topic here, which is talking about a new PlayStation 5 game that is in development. This is coming from Team Asobi, the developers behind Astro's Playroom, and we have a little bit of an update on what exactly they are making. So critically acclaimed Team Asobi, who were recently added into the PlayStation Studios family after being expanded by consuming what was Japan Studio, are currently working on another 3D action game following their smash hit title on the PS5, Astro's Playroom. Spotted by website Gaming Root, a job posting on LinkedIn from the developer hiring for a game developer with a primary focus on level design. What's curious, however, is that the rest of the listing does sound an awful lot like this new game will be a continuation of the Astro franchise. And that's what I wanted to highlight here, because this is what I've been telling you, is that anybody who enjoyed Astro's Playroom on PS5, those of you who do have PS5s and played it, and if you do have a PS5 and you haven't played it, you absolutely have to. I've been saying that I'm certain that Team Asobi was created specifically to continue to grow the Astro franchise. I think Sony was very surprised at just how well received Astro's Playroom was with the PS5, and they probably, knowing Sony, to be completely honest, they're probably like, man, why didn't we just sell this as a separate game? But, they put it in as a pack-in, and I think that they weren't expecting the reception to Astro's Playroom to be that, positive. I think that they were expecting people to enjoy it and to talk about it, but I've been telling people, like, this is a full-blown game, man, and Sony can definitely do more with this. And so I wanted to let you guys know here that there is a job posting that is heavily hinting that they are continuing with Astro. Maybe to some people this was obvious, but anytime we talk about Team Asobi, there are individuals I see that are maybe feeling skeptical that maybe they're not going to continue Astro. Maybe they're going to start something new or do a new IP, and that's certainly possible. But in my opinion, Astro is basically Sony's mascot, right? At least to a certain extent, and it's something that I think they can really do more with. I do want to say here too, that the end of this article, it says the listing asks for someone who can bring humor and creativity to their work, the design levels that provide a great tempo and creative situations. These asks could of course be for a number of games, but coming from the developer whose last two titles have been centered on Astro, and with PSVR 2 on the horizon, it would be a surprise if at least one of their projects wasn't something involving PlayStation's second favorite robot. So yeah, it sounds to me like they are very much working on another Astro. And if you were to ask me what I think Team Asobi is 100% working on a AAA Astro game that will be like pretty much Sony's Nintendo title, right? And I think that it's also going to be developed for PSVR 2. I don't think it's going to be exclusive to PSVR 2. I think it's going to release for both the PS5 and the second version of PSVR. So there you go. Just wanted to give you guys an update on Team Asobi. Let me know down in the comments below whether or not you would be excited for a standalone AAA Astro game for PS5 and PSVR 2. But we're going to close out this video talking briefly about Final Fantasy 16 because we have another small development update when it comes to this title. This is a game that I know many of you are looking forward to, and I don't really know that this is a significant update, but it's interesting nonetheless. So this is reading from PlayStation Universe, and it says Final Fantasy 16 producer Naoki Yoshida has revealed that the game's primary language for recording is British English, with the development team working on the Japanese dub at a later date. Here's what Yoshida-san had to say during a Japanese interview posted on YouTube, translated by DualShockers. So he said, "We've been prioritizing English voice recording, and we're specifically doing it in British English. We're using facial capture, so later on, we won't have to adjust by hand each of the faces during cutscenes. And it's full capture, as in the motion capture actors are also doing the voice acting simultaneously. Well, we're not doing it for every single cutscene though, but anyway, that's why English dubbing has progressed the most. The Japanese dubbing will start soon." So again, it's a small update on the development of Final Fantasy 16, and for those who maybe missed it, the last thing we heard about Final Fantasy 16 is that they're working hard to try to make an appearance at Tokyo Game Show 2021, but basically letting us know that they're probably not going to make it. They're still, in the middle of development of this game, and based off of what was being said, they really want to make a big splash with the next time they show off Final Fantasy 16. So because of that, we might have to wait a little bit longer before we see more of this title. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Do me a favor, make sure you leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Again, leave the video a like if you enjoyed it or found it informative. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.